Hi, everyone. This is Jim Cahill with another Emerson Automation Experts podcast. Globally, we are seeing an increasing emphasis on sustainability and decarbonization as countries, corporations, and communities further define and implement their roadmaps to achieve net zero carbon neutrality and operate in a more sustainable way. Today, we'll explore the role of wind energy with Andy Wang and Shubhi Goel. Welcome, Andy and Shubhi.
Thank you, Jim.
All right, well, let's get into it a little bit. Andy, let's start with you. Can you give us a little bit of your background and path into your current role with us here at Emerson?
Okay. Jim, I've been with Emerson for 25 years, working in various countries, the US, Asia Pacific countries, and actually right now I'm at my sixth countries with Emerson. Throughout my 25 years career, I've always been in the control automation industry, oil and gas, power. For the last 10 years, I've been with Power and Water Solutions outside Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and we recently acquired a Danish renewable automation company out of Aarhus, Denmark. So I actually moved to Aarhus 4 months ago. I'm now VP of Renewables for Power and Water Solutions.
Wow, I didn't even realize that you had moved over there. So that's breaking news for me. That's great. Shubhi, can you give us a little bit of your background and path to your role here at Emerson?
Yes, Jim. Well, I completed my bachelor degree in India in year 2005, having 16 years of experience in power plant and process automation industry. I joined Emerson in 2014 at Global Engineering Center Power and Water Solutions at India. Since then, I have been working in product marketing and business development role. Recently, I'm also leading an additional role for renewable power generation, which is a segment leader role for Asia Pacific. So I've been very closely observing the power industry being transformed since last few years. And I must say, this is a peak time when we can see most of these changes happening. How climate change and carbon neutrality, which were just topics of conversation even 5 years ago, are now becoming an urgency for all of us.
Well, that's great. Thank you for that background. Well, Shubhi, I'm going to pick on you a little bit in the first part of this podcast to give us what's going on in the trends and developments in the Asia Pacific region. So let's start with, why is wind energy important for the sustainability-driven transformation of the energy sector?
Yes, Jim. So as you know, wind power is one of a popular sustainable renewable energy source. Just to give a little background about wind energy. So wind energy is the energy generated using wind turbines to convert kinetic energy of the wind to mechanical energy, which is then converted into electricity. You will agree that at this moment, we are consuming a lot of natural resources that isn't sustainable, and this is leading to environmental issues such as greenhouse emissions, pollution, and climate change. And all of these is actually causing harm to the environment, wildlife, and humans. But the good news is that people have started realizing that we need to become more sustainable to protect the earth for future generations. Also, we can see countries, governments, businesses, corporations around the world who have also begun to realize the same need for developing renewable resources. And yes, there's a clear understanding on the role of wind energy in the whole decarbonization movement. I must say, within renewable energy, wind has a great role to play. It is considered one of the most attractive energy source when it comes to alleviating climate changes and the need to reduce carbon dioxide emissions. Also, with growing hybrid renewable power plants that combines wind energy with solar combined with efficient energy storage systems, it can improve the plant efficiencies as well as the plant load factors. Also, Jim, wind energy has been a critical role to play in the economical growth of green hydrogen and green ammonia. as we are hearing a lot of buzzword around the role of hydrogen as a future fuel. So, yes, wind is definitely going to enable the transition to clean energy and green future, and is definitely poised at the cusp of unlimited opportunities in times to come.
Well, that's an interesting point about hydrogen and ammonia in the context of energy storage. So, what are the latest trends and new patterns in the Asia Pacific wind energy market that's influencing the sustainability driven transformation of the energy sector?
Yes, that's an interesting question, Jim. You know, at present, Asia accounts for almost half of the global energy demand. As per the recent data from BP's Statistical Review of World Energy 2021, with increasing demand, Asia has highest emissions and it is overtaking historical emitters like North America and Europe. In fact, a host of countries in Asia like China, Korea, India have recently announced major commitments to significantly cut their carbon emissions, promising to reach net zero in the coming years. And if we see, wind is shaping a forward path, playing a vital role in the mission at Asia. Let me share some of the data around the wind energy based on market surveys conducted in year 2021-22. The global wind installed capacity reached 837 gigawatts with an annual growth rate of 12%. Out of that, 93 gigawatt were the new wind installations added in year 2021 itself. And Asia contributed to 59% from that. That means 55 gigawatts of wind power was produced by Asia itself. And if you look into the top regions in the wind power market in Asia, it's China, Vietnam, Australia, and India in order of new wind installations. And really, the center of gravity is China because they are largest producers in wind with highest growth rate.
Well, that's nice to know about the wind energy growth in the region.
Yes, Jim. In Asia Pacific, the intention and purpose has reached a handshake, I must say, and the wind transformation is inevitable. Even the global wind energy market intelligence expects, around 110 gigawatts of new wind installations each year, and out of that, 70 gigawatt is projected to be added annually in Asia itself until 2026.
So, Shubhi, can you share which are the enablers or growth contributors necessary to support the scale up of wind in the Asia Pacific region?
Okay, so let me first cover the enablers, or as you rightly said, growth in contributors to support scale up of wind energy in Asia. Firstly, wind energy avoids significant carbon dioxide emissions annually and is helping to displace the generation from fossil fuel power plants, as we all know. Secondly, wind energy consumes less or essentially no water during electricity generation. So, implementing wind energy is a means to address the global challenge of water resource management. Thirdly, wind energy has shown better opportunities for hybridization with solar, integrating energy storage systems. That is another big enabler for wind power generation. And fourthly, the offshore wind power plants, which are set to expand. The next enabler for wind energy, I must say, is the cost competitiveness. Although costs vary strongly from country to country, and this is true for majority of countries, as per the Energy Information Administration report and the findings. And lastly, the increased value proposition by automation players who are providing the best technology solutions. And I'm very excited to mention here that Emerson has acquired Meta Technique in December 2021. Meta Technique is headquartered in Denmark and is a leader in control automation solutions for wind turbines and wind farm operations. They have expertise in control design for over 400 wind turbine models and have an install base of more than 60,000 systems worldwide.
Yeah, I'm excited to get in, and I'm going to hit Andy up with some questions about the Meta technique. But before I do, Shubhi, India is another country that is quite active on the wind energy front. What policies have they established?
Sure, Jim. As said earlier, climate action is gaining momentum worldwide, and I must say, India is at the forefront of this transition and strongly committed to wind energy growth. India is fourth largest wind power market with cumulative wind installed capacity of 40 gigawatts as of 2021, growing at a compound annual growth rate of 5.5% between 2017 and 2021. To share a few market drivers, the Government of India's COP26 commitments, India pledged for net zero by 2070, shall meet 50% of energy requirements from renewable energy, deploy 500 gigawatts of renewable energy capacities by 2030, and also the government is promoting wind power projects by providing fiscal and promotional incentives. Also, there are other initiatives like Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, and performance-linked incentive schemes that makes India a strong contender for wind energy market in Asia.
Okay, Andy, now let me turn to you. Could you tell us a bit about Emerson's approach to renewable energy and especially the wind market?
Well, as you can see from all the latest news releases by Emerson, Emerson take renewable energy very seriously. We recently acquired Metatechnic, as Shubhi mentioned earlier. Emerson also acquired a hydro control company called American Governor in 2020. And I moved here just to grow this business. Okay, so there are several approaches to renewable controls or automation. Typically, one immediate thought will be, oh, how to control a NIL or a retrofit plan. But while we talk to our customers, I mean, the owners or operators, the most common request or pain that they have is a common renewable SCADA that can be used across all renewables and all models of turbines. In the industry, they call this, they need a single pane of glass for multiple plants, multiple brands, and multiple different fuels of plants, solar, battery, or renewables. There are several SCADA companies out there, but they're often focused on one type of renewable and don't have good interface to the assets. And one other thing is most of those companies, they don't have a good control solution to complete their SCADA solutions.
Well, that makes sense that more often than not, there's a mix of energy sources that would benefit, I would think, from a common SCADA and control systems. So, Andy, can you share with us more about Emerson's wind turbine solutions and the value this acquisition brings to wind consumers?
Okay, Jim, Meta has a 50-year history in wind, and they have nearly everything for wind, from turbine control, pitch control, SCADA, conditioning monitoring, and most importantly, engineering skills of the industry and the application. They can customize solution to improve AEP or extend hardware life. This makes them pretty unique in comparison to our other competitors. We expect to be able to combine the expertise, the technology with Emerson's global presence in terms of service, sales coverage, to bring them much further than they ever dreamed possible. So the potential is pretty exciting. And let me add that just like the fossil customers, renewable customer and owners, they value aftermarket support. We've been learning most of our customers are not getting much support from their OEMs. Emerson is known in the industry for customer satisfaction, so I think this will be a great differentiator for Emerson.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like that. So how does Emerson's winscada solutions help to increase operational visibility, flexibility, performance with OEM independent asset management solutions?
Well, a typical wind OEM only permits the owner to have access to a limited subset of data, usually through an OPC output from their SCADA server. This might be 30, 35 data points, okay, where the unit might actually have 1,000 to 2,000 data points or parameters that the OEM actually can see and use for themselves. But yet they don't want the owner to see that for selfish reasons. And it's like the difference between engine light got turned on in your car dashboard, okay, telling you there's a problem, but not telling you exactly what the fault is and what are the underlying issues that created the event. This access to data that Meta solution provides will enable the owner to truly own their data and make use of it. Our solution is called MyScout. MyScout can directly interface with 750 different wind turbine models using native proprietary protocols. Okay, with that, owners they're not only able to operate and monitor the unit, but can have access to the data to perform more diagnosis or understand the failure modes in more detail. And furthermore, MyScout has tools that allows owner to analyze those data. So let's say an owner with LTSA with a OEM, they can install MyScout in parallel with their OEM SCADA so that they can provide more data and do performance analysis without impacting their relationship with the OEMs.
Well, I think that dashboard light analogy was really good, that it just tells you there's a problem, but not what it is. And it sounds like by being able to have access to so much more data opens up things, predictive maintenance and that kind of thing, to really make it a much more robust and reliable solution. So retrofits offer a large opportunity for end-to-end monitoring and control providers, things controllers, SCADA, CMS, performance monitoring, protocols, communications, support, trading, reports, etc. Can you share more insights on Emerson's wind solutions aimed at streamlining retrofit projects and optimizing repowering costs that will hold a notable market advantage?
Yeah, Meta has done a tremendous job of simplifying control replacements. From a logic point of view, they have libraries of proven operating logic to draw from, and they can simply customize parameters when installing those controls. From a hardware perspective, they created kits that can simply quickly replace the legacy system typically in less than a day. They often will install the first unit, and because all the units are the same, so the subsequent unit can be done either by the customer themselves or third-party installation companies. And from order, placing a PO with us to install typically is 3 months. For models they have not done before, they also have the engineering talent to develop a retrofit solution in several months. So we're actually doing today a retrofit solution for GE SLE units. This is the largest fleet in North America. Okay, the prototype was installed earlier this year, like January, and in June, this month, we're going to install the remaining units.
Okay, so how do you see this as a growth opportunity, and are we able to support our customers to incorporate wind and solar hybrid projects combined with energy storage in the new hybrid renewable energy mix? For example, wind and solar hybrid with green hydrogen?
Well, consider that there are a lot of similarities between solar PV and wind. The real value to our customer is not always at the site level, but at the remote operations center where the data is being analyzed to make operating decisions. A unit out of service or failed inverter typically don't draw a lot of fast reaction from the owner as a boiler feed pump failure would in the thermal world, because in renewables is by nature is very distributed, and in thermal it's very high concentration of megawatts. So one failure will cause you to lose the entire plant. Another way to look at it is renewable company will try and keep their truck rolls down Okay, most sites are remote and unmanned. So driving 300 miles to a site to repair a 1 megawatt inverter is probably not worth it. So our customers would typically accumulate all the repair in one trip, and then the service technician would need to know what to put onto his truck. That means different parts of the plant to fix all the problems in one go.
Yeah, that makes sense that it's so highly distributed with the number out there that you would optimize based when you have a critical amount of maintenance work that you would have to do. So what's different about renewable SCADA versus just an HMI?
Well, HMI are originally developed around the process world. In the process world, we see operators are sitting in front of their HMI 24/7, actively making changes, turning on and off pumps, valves, recovering from upsets, controlling flow, pressure, temperature, all of that. But the operators in the process world, they are not necessarily looking at KPIs or making cost-based decisions. Whereas in renewables, there are not a lot of operation going on, as I said earlier, but it's a lot of monitoring and occasionally troubleshooting issues. You will often see nobody in the control room, or there's no control room at site at all. But cost-based decision and KPIs are a huge component of what SCADA and the industry is increasingly calling it APM, Asset Performance Management Software, that will provide benefit to the owner and operators. The data from the field combined with the market information, weather information, and all other information will empower the owner to make decision how best to use their assets. For example, on a low dollar per megawatt day, a wind operator may choose not to dispatch their units in order not to induce wear and tear to the equipment.
Yeah, that's an interesting contrast between these continuous processes and versus this decentralized approach and just making your decisions based on weather conditions and all the other things and current demand. That's I guess a really interesting distinction between the two of renewable SCADA and HMI. So thanks for that. Well, let's wrap our podcast up by asking, where can our listeners go to learn more about our wind energy solutions?
So, Jim, actually, you can go to Emerson.com and renewable power, and you will actually see a host of links to our renewable solutions, including the Metatechnic website from there.
Okay, that's great. Well, I hope our listeners have learned as much as I did in this podcast. And also make sure you check out our other podcasts in our Asia Pacific Sustainability and Decarbonization podcast series. Also, we have a link to the Asia Pacific Sustainability and Decarbonization experts in your country in the Asia Pacific region. So bye for now, everyone.